Weather Authority is tracking Hurricane Matthew, a monster Category 4 storm, as it churns through the Caribbean.
The Local 10 weather team is here with the latest advisory on Matthew.
Chief Certified Meteorologist Betty Davis and Hurricane Specialist Max Mayfield have the latest information from the National Hurricane Center. Betty, get us started.
Hi, everyone. This remains a very powerful hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 145 miles per hour, pressure at 945 millibars, and it's a slow mover over the Caribbean Sea, heading toward the northwest at 5 miles an hour. On the infrared satellite view, you can see how well put together it still is, and just also how large it is as it's churning over these waters. You're also noticing that eye, which was once so distinct and so discernible, now seems to be closing off a bit, but nonetheless, it remains a very powerful hurricane moving slowly over these waters. The outer periphery already starting to lash some of the islands, Dominican Republic, Haiti, rain band, squally weather now pushing across Jamaica. So tonight, Haiti and Jamaica get tropical storm conditions and then hurricane conditions by tomorrow. And that brings us to the projected path. That movement toward the north we're anticipating for tonight into Monday, and remaining a very formidable system as the core gets close to that southwest tip of Haiti, if not moving right over Haiti as well. And then we're going to continue to track it toward the north. On Tuesday, here comes eastern Cuba, right in the zone of the path of this system. And then from there, Tuesday into Wednesday, over the Bahamas it goes. And notice between Wednesday and Thursday, still impacting parts of the Bahamas. So Wednesday, central Bahamas, and then we're looking at other areas of the Bahamas, if it's not right over, just east of, as it's continuing its trek up toward the north. And also notice at the end of this projected path how it juts out and clips the southeast coast of the U.S. Now, the one thing I'm sure you're noticing about this forecast cone is that now it appears South Florida is outside the cone, and more it is looking like this is going to stay offshore of us. We'll talk about what that means for us in just a few seconds. But first, I want to bring in our hurricane specialist, Max Mayfield. Max, let's talk about the structure of this system and what's going on with it right now.
Well, this is really remarkable that Matthew can maintain that little small pinhole eye, because normally they don't last that long. I'll be really surprised if that maintains itself all the way until it gets into the greater Antilles. But the bottom line is that it will go through some fluctuations, and don't focus on it becoming a Category 3 or 4 or back and forth here. It's kind of like the difference between being run over by a train or run over by an 18-wheeler. Neither one of those are good. One thing I want to point out here, you can see that little eye looks like it's become cloud cover now, but those rain bands extend out maybe 225 miles or so to the northwest, and over 300 miles, probably 350 miles to the northeast and east. So just remember, as this thing comes northward, there's going to be a lot of weather on both sides, particularly on the eastern side, and that's not going to be good for Haiti and the Dominican Republic. I want to talk to you a little bit about the computer models. You see these models all over the place on websites and even some government sites, and some of these I can assure you we should not be worried about. That blue line there is the Clipper Climatology Persistence Model. That was actually developed the year I came to the Hurricane Center in 1972. The Hurricane Center hasn't used that model since the 1980s. There are also some really simple trajectory models in there that are also not used with a well-formed hurricane like this. So let's simplify things and just look at what we always show here on Local 10, the more reliable models. And you can see there's a fair amount of scatter here. Most of them continue that northward motion, clipping eastern Cuba into the Bahamas, and slowly northward, from there. There's one outlier, the United Kingdom Meteorological Service model, that yellow line, that's jumped over to the left, but most of those models are east of us, and as Betty said, we keep the core east of us. So how does the Hurricane Center handle all that? Well, they take the better models and make a consensus out of that. That's this red line. Again, just using the more reliable models, and if you look at the cone, you'll usually find the cone has that, the center of that cone is very near that consensus model. So anyway, that's the good news. Now let me show you the two best models. The closest point of approach to South Florida, this is the United States Global Model, the GFS. By early Thursday morning, that's about the closest point of approach right now. Again, showing the core east of us. The European model is another really good model. It's been either 1 or 2 for the last several years. also has the closest point of approach on Thursday, but later in the afternoon. So, you know, I'm feeling pretty good here that based on what we have now, everything is still off to the east. The thing to remember here, right now, the center of that cone is about 250 miles away from South Florida. The average forecaster in 4 days is about 125 miles.
And we really want to bottom line this for our South Florida viewers here tonight, but also not forget about what's about to happen in places like Haiti, the flash flooding, the mudslides. It's going to be some life-threatening, devastating occurrences there. But here at home, as we're looking ahead this week, our possible impacts, specifically South Florida, Wednesday through Thursday. Now, the center likely offshore, but even so, strong winds will be likely. So windy weather Wednesday into Thursday. We'll watch for that, and an increase perhaps in the rainfall, and marine conditions will be deteriorating too. Those are going to be hazardous. And Max, we don't want to forget about the Bahamas, because they could be dealing with the core of this.
And it's a slow moving system, and that's going to, you know, keep hurricane conditions over those islands for a long time. And the same thing for Haiti and the Dominican Republic.
Right. So we'll have much more coming up on Hurricane Matthew in just a moment. More analysis ahead. Let's get back to you guys.